Hi, this is Therese Vogel, and we're here today at the Regal 14 Theater in Fredericksburg. And we're here for the movie premiere of A Long Way Off.
I know that it's your dream to have me stay and work on this farm, but it's not mine.
You know he didn't get that order in.
I know that.
It costs us money, Jake.
I quit, Dad. I need some money to get started.
At the bottom of the page here is what you're going to be receiving as your share of the inheritance.
Here, buddy. Thank you.
One of the co-producers, Christy McLaughlin, is here from Fredericksburg. We'll be interviewing her, and we'll also be interviewing one of the actors, Robert Amaya, which you might remember from the movie Courageous. You have won a contest in order to be here today.
Hey, how you doing?
What are you looking forward to at a movie premiere here?
A good movie. We already met Robert. Truly enjoyed him in Courageous, the movie.
Were you strong enough to see it through? 'Cause I was weak, I couldn't stay.
Well, you know what? It's a great story. A lot of people are familiar with the Prodigal Son story, but it's a story about hope and redemption, forgiveness. I mean, such beautiful things that a lot of us need to experience in our own lives. And so a story like this, and it's in a modern day setting, is just a wonderful thing to sit back, enjoy, and just watch.
You gave me all you could.
It's a feel-good movie, filled with a lot of great moments, and it's a kind of movie, it's 100% clean, so it's a great family film. You can go to the movie theater, bring your entire family, pick out your favorite snacks, your popcorn, your drink, and sit back and not have to worry about what you're about to watch and listen
to you, and you were there waiting. I took the long way home, but you saw me coming from a long way home.
We're here with one of the sponsors here to bring the premiere here to Fredericksburg. And now you want to talk a bit about what it's like to bring a premiere to the city of Fredericksburg?
Well, this is all new to me, but obviously our daughter Christy came up with a movie that I think is good for everybody. I mean, the theme of the movie, everything is whether you were working in it from start to finish or whether you're here to see the movie. I think it's a movie that's good for everybody. And I've seen it twice, and I'll be honest, I needed this both times.
I'm Christy McLaughlin, and this is my daughter and my niece and nephew.
And Christy here is the producer for A Long Way Off. We'll return shortly at the premiere of A Long Way Off.
Who is she?
Oh, that's Laura. What do you do?
I'm an investor.
I actually have an idea of how we could better spend your money.
You do?
The best thing about being a lead investor is that you would have to meet with other investors.
There you go. You won't regret it.
I'm sure I won't.
It could be somebody important. Think about all the rewards.
We're back here at the premiere of A Long Way Off at Regal 14 in Fredericksburg.
It's all gone.
What's all gone?
Money. We're toast.
No, you're toast. Frank made the investment on your recommendation.
I need to talk to Jake.
He's not gonna stop until he finds you, Jake. He'll kill you.
Jake!
We had a chance to interview Robert Amaya earlier today.
You know, it's funny. I was really influenced a lot by theater, and I love theater. That's where I came from. Of course, you know, I grew up watching a lot of great films, but I was always an action guy. My dad loved action movies, and, you know, action TV. I was the kind of guy, I would see my dad every Sunday and watch, you know, Kung Fu Sunday afternoon, you know, theater. So, you know, that was really my exposure, but I love great stories. I love great stories, and whenever I would run across a great story, it would just mesmerize you. And so that's why I love theater. Because theater has to be so complete in its story and so concise, and they have to do it in a certain amount of time. And I loved it. I loved it. You know, it's especially when you live somewhere where you don't have a lot of theater. The theater that you do get to see has to be successful. So I kind of, being in Miami, every time I was exposed to theater, I would see great shows that were already successful, you know, from where they started. And so things like Les Miserables, which was the very first musical I ever saw, inspired me to sing, act, do the whole nine. I mean, it was so moving for me. But I love theater. That's really what got me. You may think your scenes are great until they show them to an audience. You never know. In theater, you kind of get that response immediately, and you know how to adjust. So in that regard, film is a little bit of a gamble, but I got hooked the moment I did Courageous. I was hooked on film. I absolutely love it. It's also, film gives us a platform to be able to reach more people with some great positive messages. Right. And I'm thankful for that. That Snake King, which so many people love, is really what got me my foot in the door. And so I've done a lot of theater. My wife and I both, we've been able to do some great musicals. I was in Les Miserables, I got to do Miss Saigon, and other great, you know, plays and stuff. But and in that conversation, you know, I wasn't expecting much, but Terry Cat was her name, and Terry would not hang up the phone. And she talked, and I'm telling you, 20 minutes later into that conversation, I was like, please hang up, I want to go cry. Right. She says, you know, if I would have had a video of you, I'd show it to the Kendricks. I said, well, if you send me some sides, or you know, a scene, I'll record myself, and you'll have it overnight. I can put it up on YouTube, you can see it. She said, no way. So she sent me the Snake King scene, which is pretty famous in the movie, and the day after that, I got called to come up and play Jose. I'm kind of like the helping hand. Pretty much the entire story, you really get to see it through Jose's eyes. Okay. So I'm like the storyteller, so to speak. Yeah. It begins with me, it'll end with me. Okay. So it's not a, it's not a massive role, but it's a massive role in the sense that you get it's my story.
Okay.
You know what? With Jose, one of the things I loved about Jose in A Long Way Off is that the entire story is from his perspective. Really, he's like the storyteller of this film, and so for me, it was just a wonderful way to see Jose being a helping hand on the farm, Abraham's farm. To see his relationship with these folks, and then to be able to develop that story, it was a wonderful opportunity to be a part of that. And plus, I mean, who doesn't want to be a part of the Prodigal Son story? Absolutely loved it. PG, you got to be careful of the content that you're exposing them to. And one of the beautiful things about a movie like A Long Way Off is, number one, everybody knows the story that it's inspired from. But second of all, it's a movie that you can sit down, grab your popcorn, grab your favorite snack, your favorite drink, sit down with your family of all ages, and you know that you can enjoy the film. You don't have to worry about the content. You don't have to worry about what you're looking at or what you're going to listen to. It's a clean movie with such an inspiring and hopeful message. I mean, it's a great, great story, A Long Way Off.
Your love has open arms for vagrant children and vagabonds. Your love gives the wanderer hope, and your love that grows the land with callous fingers and tender hands holds on while seasons come and go.
Upcoming movies that you want to tell us about that you'll be in?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I'm most excited. My next thing is I have a praise and worship CD that I have. It'll be coming out later this summer. It'll be my first praise and worship album. And then I have a movie called Alter Egos. If you can imagine, kind of like a faith-based film version of Mrs. Doubtfire. It's really funny. Really good stuff, so keep your eyes open for that.
That you are a tenor?
I am.
So are you classically trained?
I am, yes. I was classically trained, and that's how I started, actually, by singing. And I sang for my church, then I started singing professionally. My wife and I both got the opportunity to do some amazing shows like Les Miserables and such, and that's where it began for me.
Okay, well, I'll let you get back to the premiere. Thanks for taking some time to answer some
Bless
questions.
y'all. Thank you so much.
We'll be right back with more of the premiere of A Long Way Off. Welcome back to our coverage of the premiere of A Long Way Off here in Fredericksburg.
When was the last time you heard from your son?
We had it.
I lost everything.
You're my son. You will always be that.
We had a chance to interview Christy McLaughlin, the producer of A Long Way Off, earlier today.
Jake is the main character, and he's played by Jason Berkey, who was the lead in October Baby. Definitely are appealing to the Christian market with Robert Amaya and Jason Berkey, Rusty Martin, who was also in Courageous. And then, of course, we had Robert Davi. He's the conservative, so he has a tendency to carry over. And he was one of our clients for special guests. He plays Frank, kind of the villain. Oh no, he's the bad guy. He actually got on set and insisted on wearing a patch. He actually said that he had a sty and he was afraid the first night that it was gonna like blow up by the next night on set and you can't patch one night and not patch the next, so he just said, let me just patch it now so that, John Deal plays the father. And we're able to secure an excellent cast. I think we had 18 drafts. We'd read them, we'd turn in our notes, we'd get the next one back, we'd read it, turn in our notes. It happened repeatedly. We were ready to film in October of 2012, and we were getting ready I think we were supposed to start filming a week from a particular date, and one of our investors of $80,000 actually backed out at the last second, and so we were stuck, and we had to make a decision about what we were going to do. And we actually had a miracle happen, because on the very day that it was about 30 minutes before we were having a meeting with our entire team and the production company, and I mean, we had already locked in the cast, and it was a really big deal to back out at that point in time. And we had a client of ours for our PR firm that we own, who has been a longtime friend of my husband's, who called, and we hadn't spoken with him in probably 5 months. And he said, I just believe that God showed me to call you and tell you that I'm to give you whatever you need. Really? Because we're getting ready to cancel the production and push it off to the spring. And that was a really big deal. We'd lose our crew, we'd lose our cast, we'd lose a lot of money. And so he prepaid for $100,000 of PR and said, go ahead and use that money for your movie. And so we actually went ahead and we did push it off another month, and we filmed to the end of November into December to give us some more time. Probably about a year ago, we saw the rough cut. And that's where you hear everybody shuffling, and you hear all kinds of things that you laugh at. But that's where you kind of decide, cut this, lengthen that, all kinds of things like that. And then they give you the finished product, and then you look it over again and make any suggested changes, and you do that a couple of times, and then they say, okay, this is it, are you done? And I have to tell you that my kids worked on set too, full time, and they were great. My sons, who were over the food and snacks and everything, craft services, they would leave at 3:30 or 4 in the morning and get home at 9. They'd restock their truck, and they'd get up and do it again. We had a premiere in a theater near Raleigh back, I guess, at the end of August last year. And so a lot of the extras, we had, I don't know, like 300 extras. And so a lot of the extras came. It was definitely a packed house, some friends and a lot of people who were involved with the film. And that was probably a highlight. It's in about 30 screens in various places across the country. We have, I think, 3 to 4 theaters in Virginia, about 6 in North Carolina, and then some in Georgia, Florida, so that it actually could have happened in today's society and what it would actually look like. And the reason that we do that is because a lot of people have read these Bible stories. They heard them when they were kids. They're just somewhat familiar, at least, with a lot of Bible stories. And you don't have a tendency to think, well, what does that mean to me today? When you read the Bible story and you picture the father in his robe and his sandals and this old home and this dusty road, and the son coming back with his ripped up old clothes, you really picture it in the context that it was told in the Bible, which is a historic context. And so a lot of times you don't really transfer that over, and that's what pastors are doing all the time. They're trying to help you transfer the meaning of the Bible as it was written to what's going on in your life today, and how does it apply to you. So we're hoping that by doing modern stories, modern renditions of the Bible stories, that it actually makes it very relevant, and that you can say, oh wow, look at that, this whole element of forgiveness, or this whole element of humility, and just, you see that in characters today, because everybody knows a character like Jake, or everybody, some people have been the character of Jake, and many parents can relate to the character of the father, because the father's waiting for his son to come home. And I think some of the people around the father don't believe that the son is going to turn around and actually want to be a part of his family, want to be a part of his father's life. But the father is always standing at the window watching. You see him, he's talking to his friends saying, I'm concerned about my son, and then you see him watching out the window, and eventually he's watching out the window. His eldest son, who doesn't really respect the younger son, who took off with the inheritance and wasted the entire thing, just kind of wants to forget about him. And there's the father. And so the father's watching out the window, and he sees this figure coming at a great distance away, which is why we named it A Long Way Off, because the Bible says while he was still a long way off, the father saw him and took off running. And so the father leaves, and he runs to his son, and the son says, I'm sorry, I wasted everything. And the father just says, welcome home. You're welcome here. You're my son.
So hopefully you'll be able to have a chance to check this movie out.
I lost everything.
You're my son. You will always be that.